Hello, welcome back. This is video number 43. One more than 42, which is the answer to life, the universe and everything. Whereas 43 isn't. Anyway, 43. Just a bit of blither before we get on with the recipe. I've had a couple of questions about this lot. I have a very large book collection. It's somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000. And I know that because I stopped counting at about 2,000. So there's quite a few. If you look all the way around the room, I'll post a picture one day. This is a 14 by 10 room. It's about 9 foot high and it's just full of books. Shelves all over the place. I love my books. What am I reading at the moment? There it is on the shelf. Dostoevsky's The Idiot. Really interesting book. A bit Russian, a bit impenetrable at times, but really, really interesting. I also, on some of the shelves, have some cuddly toys and things. I love this little man. He's one of the things on my shelf. Anyway, blather. Recipe number 43, a simple Spanish bean soup with a yummy picada added to the top. It's similar to a pesto. Let's get on with it. Bye-bye. So, what's on today's board of goodness? It's a bean soup, so there will be beans. In this case, cannellini beans. I like cannellini beans. I have added, in this case, pinto beans, but only because I still had them in the cupboard and I want to get used to them, rid of them. I'd add another tin of cannellini beans. I'm going to have to pressure cook the pinto because I forgot to soak them overnight. Right, some passata, some veg stock, which seems to be in every one of my dishes at the moment, some bay leaves, probably about 2 of those, some dried thyme, only because I had no fresh thyme, but I did find fresh rosemary. Lovely stuff. 1 onion. Lonely but beautiful. Garlic will go in the main dish. And the picada. Picada will be hazelnuts. I love hazelnuts anyway. And also some fresh parsley. This is going to be great. You bring the two together and it's all wonderful. Anyway, let's get on with it. So if you've been brave enough to join me in the pressure cooker journey, this will be a fun bit. If it's not, fast forward about 18 seconds. I do love a pressure cooker. It's sort of, as it's building up a head of steam, it's like a snarling, nasty beast of volcanic proportion-y things. Anyway, Tum-ty-tum-ty-tum-ty-tum, we go to the next bit. Chop up your lovely, sweet and slightly lonely onion, not into tiny bits, just slithers as you slice them, throw them in. Oh, let's have a look at the beans. After 50 minutes pressure cooking, they look lovely. They're not mushy, they're just on the edge of mushy. If you grabbed a bean between your two fingers and went like this, be buttery smooth. Woohoo! Anyway, onions, fry away, gently down the pan. Whatever, you're going to be caramelising these onions till they're nice and soft and brown. Then you're going to be throwing the garlic in. Carry on, soft and brown. Straight in with the passata as well. Stir around. You've got to be stirring this for about 15 minutes to allow the tomatoes to really infuse with the onions and get in a good space. Bean time! Time for beans. If you've gone down the pressure cooker route with some of your beans, spoon them in now. If you have not, because you're clever, or because you haven't got any beans left over to use up, then just start putting the cans in now, slowly. Enveloping the beans in the tomato sauce. Then when they've started nicely coating, then you go in with your veg stock. This whole mix is going to be bubbling away for a little while. You've got to let it all kind of soak in and get syrupy and saucy and many other words that my mouth can't pronounce. Onwards. Oh yes, before I forget, before you carry on the journey of bubbling and stirring and stuff, you've got to add your chopped up fresh rosemary, your bit of thyme, and your couple of bay leaves. Ooh. As things are getting lovely and soft, about 15 minutes after you've put the herbs in, probably 20 minutes, then what you need to do is soupify about half to two-thirds of the beans. Now I've got a hand blender, so just go in with that. You need plenty of beans left, but the rest of it needs to be creating a sauce. If you haven't got a hand blender, you're going to need to cool it down a bit and then put it into a normal blender. Guess who forgot to video most of this last bit? So anyway, this is creating the picada. Toast your hazelnuts till they start really nice, that sort of warm nuttiness. Then add into the blender thing, whatever it is you're using, a good handful of parsley, 3 cloves of garlic, down fine dash of olive oil and a little bit of salt, then whiz them up. You'll be able to see this on the last bit. And here we are at the finished line, even though I've missed out that last bit of film. So we're ready to serve up a beautiful pan of beans with those few gentle herbs and the veg stock bubbling away. Now we add it to a bowl and make a mess of the bowl. So you have to put your finger around it. I can't do artistic, I just sort of bung things in. The next bit of bung is the picada. This is what the greenness should look like after the bit of film I missed. But don't stir it all the way in. Like a pesto, it's very similar to a pesto, but don't. Put the lump on top, and as you're having a spoon, take a little bit of picada with you every time you have a spoon. Just makes it so incredibly... I mean, I love a good bean soup anyway, but takes it to another level. I've kind of almost borrowed this recipe from a very famous restaurant called Bulli. They didn't used to serve it to the customers, but they did used to serve it to the staff. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. I won't say it's quite as good as theirs, but I enjoyed making it. Anyway, this was video number 43. We're onwards to number 44. Thank you very, very much for sticking around. Like and subscribe and all the other good stuff. Thank you. Next time.